Hey guys, welcome back to my channel if you've been here before, and if you haven't, welcome to my channel. I'm back with this week's Let's Talk About video, where in this series I like to try and do the best that I can with helping other readers or people who are just curious about the tarot, helping them to learn traditional meanings of the cards. And I also like to take this time to talk about what the cards mean to me and if I have any connections or my own special meanings for each of the cards. So I will link last week's video in this one if you want to go and check it out if you did not see it already. So let's do some shuffling and see what card we get today. Okay, so we have the Six of Swords. So like I mentioned in my last video, or I think it was my last video, in one of them, I talked about how the swords is actually the suit that I can relate with the most out of all of the suits. But before I get into that a bit more, let's read the card and see what it has to say. So the Six of Swords. Things may be feeling rather unsettled, but trust that where you are going is the best place for now. Let others help you along the way. You are heading in the right direction. This journey is not without its challenges. Learn to go with the flow rather than fight against it. So I personally really enjoy the Six of Swords. So the Swords suit is a suit that relates more with your inner voice and like communication and the way that we think. The Swords is a very logical way of thinking. That's kind of how I would describe this suit. But when we're talking about the Six of Swords, we're talking about leaving things behind that are no longer serving us. So maybe it's a situation that you've been in for a while and nothing positive is really coming out of it, if that makes sense. Could be a relationship, could be a job, whatever it may be. It's a path that you're currently on or someone is currently on that's not really going anywhere or going in the direction that you would benefit the most out of. So what I like about the imagery of the Six of Swords is at the bottom corner here, the water is very rough. Like you can see that there's a lot of waves happening over here. But then if we look out into the rest of the water, like towards the way that the boat is going, the water is much more smooth. So it's kind of like you are leaving these rough waters behind and heading into something a bit more calm or a bit more settled. So this card could be a symbol for someone who should or really wants to take a step towards healing of some sort. It could be a symbol for leaving a very unstable situation that brings on a lot of anxiety and maybe even depression, and stepping away from that and heading towards a place where you can start to heal and start to rebuild. And it's a swords card, so it's definitely more leaning towards your state of mind, I would say. So your mind may have a lot of healing that needs to be done. Another thing to point out that the card mentioned is you can see two figures here, and they kind of look like the figures that need to be, moved away from this situation or this state of mind. And then we have this person here who's helping them make that move that they need to make for themselves. So like the card mentions, let others help you along the way. So this could be a time when someone needs to turn to, friends, family, people that they feel like they can trust and rely on. yeah, turn to them and ask for help. I know that can be a bit difficult for some of us, showing a bit more of a vulnerable side. I know that I can be guilty of that. But you don't have to go through things alone. There is no harm in turning to the people that you know have your back, because that's what they're there for, and that's what you're there in their life for. We have to be able to trust each other and ask for help when we feel like we need it. So if I'm doing a reading for myself and this card comes up, I like to take a moment to see what's sort of in my life right now that's not really going anywhere, not really going in the direction I hoped it would, and take that time to consider maybe a change is needed. Maybe a new direction needs to be taken. And yes, that can be a bit challenging, it can be a bit scary, but there's just no point in staying on the path that you're on if it's really not going anywhere. Like, what's the point of that? You've learned all that you can learn on that path, and now you're kind of heading towards a dead end, and you need to make a turn somewhere, and that turn will hopefully lead you to something better, or lead you to a new challenge, something that you're going to get some good life lessons out of. So yeah, I really do enjoy the Six of Swords, but like I said, I really enjoy all of the Swords cards, even the somewhat darker, scarier cards, so to speak. I feel like the Swords can definitely be a slap in the face sometimes. I know tarot in general can be that way, but I don't know, whenever I get a Swords card in a reading for myself, I kind of get excited, and I think it's because when I see the Swords, it means I have to try and pay attention to what's going on in my mind, what's going on internally, rather than what's going on around me. And that's always something that I really like to challenge myself on, is looking at myself and figuring out what's going on inside. Because I feel like a lot of the times we are so wrapped up in what's going on around us and in our, our environment and just the world, and we forget to tune into ourselves and, check in with our minds and see how they're doing. So whenever I get a Swords card, it's kind of like a reminder to do a check-in with myself. So yeah, there you have it. That is the lovely Six of Swords. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it to be helpful and insightful in some way. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the next one.